Hey everyone, it's Justine, and today I'm guesting for Write at Home Stamps, and I'm very excited to show you a stamp company that's relatively new to me. And I'm going to be using a few of their products, including this watercolor background cling stamp, to create all three backgrounds for my cards today. So I'm going to be stamping on some Neenah Solar White cardstock in 80 pound. I'm going to remove the foam pad from my MISTI because I'm stamping with a cling stamp. I'm going to place this down onto my MISTI, and then you're just going to pick it up with your MISTI stamping tool. If you're not having luck getting your cling stamps to stick onto your MISTI, go ahead and just wipe them with a little bit of Dawn soap and water just to clean them off. I find that's usually the trick. I'm going to use 4 colors today. It's a Girl, Bellini, Melon Ice, and Mint to Be from Catherine Pooler Designs. These are my favorite inks when I want to get a solid impression, and they'll be perfect for this background set. I'm also going to be using purple tape to help everything stay clean. The stripes are fairly spaced out, however I don't want to take any chances. So I'm going to be starting off with Mint to Be, followed by It's a Girl, and then Melon Ice and Bellini. I wanted to make sure my pinks and orange were separated by the yellowish green tones, and I'm just going to ink that up here, and usually just about 3 to 5 taps maximum of the Catherine Pooler inks, and just make sure that you're not pressing too hard. They are a foam pad, not a felt pad, so they push really easily, so it gets a lot of ink out of there, which is important because when you get a lot of ink on there, obviously, then you don't have to keep stamping it over and over again. So I'm just going to stamp this down and lift up my panel, and then I'm going to go ahead and start inking up the second stripe. Alright, so once I do that, I'm just going to mask off the area again so that I have my first and second stripe all blocked off. And I am going to ink up now, this time with the It's a Girl, and remove my tape and then stamp down again. I don't have to worry about the previously inked areas because I'm using my MISTI stamping tool, and it's always going to stamp in the same spot twice. Sometimes I find with cling stamps is that you're going to get a little bit of difficulty stamping along the edge of the paper when you're using cling stamps. However, it works just fine as long as you keep it a little slightly away from the edge. So now I'm stamping in with the Melon Ice, covering that area, inking it up with my final color, Bellini, which is one of my favorite colors from Catherine Pooler. It's so bright and beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and press that down, and now I have a beautiful background that's partially stamped with the watercolors. Now I'm going to do the same technique here. The only difference is that I've flipped around my stamp and also flipped around my paper so that I get horizontal stamps this time, or horizontal stripes rather. I'm just going to go ahead and skip over to the end of the stamping just because you've watched me do this already. I'm using the same color combination. I'm getting a little bit bold here and not using the masking, and of course it's just the same thing. Alright, so when it's finished, I have my horizontal stripes this time, and then for the last card that I'm doing vertical stripes, but this time going downwards onto my card panel. So I have now 3 cards that use the same color combination and the same type of background, which in my opinion is just perfect for creating card sets and little bundles as gifts that I like to do so often for friends for things like birthdays and things like that. So now I'm ready to get started on my card. I'm going to be using the Scallop Stitches die on one of these. It comes with this really cool background, and it also comes with a circle background. Now this is a little bit different. When I die cut this, I was really surprised. You're not getting that scalloped edge as a cutout, it's actually just cutting out the stitches. So same with the circle, it cuts out the circle in the scallop, and for this one it cuts out the card panel itself, the rectangle, but it applies those stitching to the stamp, so it's just a detail stamp. Now for the finishing touches, I'm going to be using the Script Greetings as well as the Script Greetings die. So it comes with a lot of really beautiful sentiments that are in a brush sentiment like blessed, hello, thank you, and celebrate, as well as sentiments that go with it. And all of those words that are in brush lettering also come as script dies. And not only that, but they come with backgrounds as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that background for the thank you, and I'm going to place a piece of black cardstock on top. Then I'm going to grab a piece of white cardstock and cut out the thank you script. And I'm going to run that through my GEMINI Junior die cutting machine. You'll notice that the die cuts face up. That is a little bit different than using a Big Shot die cutting machine. And you'll see that the shadow creates this beautiful box around the script die. I absolutely love the way that that turned out. Now, a great alternative, of course, if you don't have a die cutting machine or if you prefer something a little bit different, is you can stamp those sentiments on there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp thank you in some black ink directly on top of the watercolor background. Because I'm using my MISTI stamping tool as well, I'm able to stamp twice so I can get the sentiment even darker and more vibrant. Now I'm going to remove that stamp here and I'm going to add the so very much to the bottom of it. Now the so very much does not fit in between the thank, the T and the Y, which is what I was hoping for, but that's okay. So what you can always do is grab a pair of scissors and perform a little stamp surgery. So I went ahead and just simply cut the so thank you and then so much, and so very much, and I went ahead and just cut them so that I was able to arrange my sentiment exactly the way that I wanted to. And so that's a nice way to stretch your stamps as well. What I could have also done instead of doing that, if that scares you, is I could have taken a piece of masking tape, inked it, covered up one of the words, covered up the much, inked it, taken off the masking tape and stamped it. That would have worked as well. So now you can see that I've actually put the sentiment back together. You just stick them next to each other. And I'm going to stamp the so very much onto a piece of white cardstock. I've cut down the white cardstock into a small rectangle, and now I'm able to add it to that beautiful die cut that I cut out earlier that I've now glued together and added to my partially stamped background. So I love the way that both of these look, one with stamping, one with die cutting. It just really depends on the look that you're going for. Now, the more and more I look at this stitch scallop, I absolutely love it. I think they're so cute. I went ahead and die cut the word hugs in black cardstock, which actually came with the scallop stitches die. So that was really perfect. Now I'm just going to use the Sweet Pea Pretty Pink Posh sequin collection here. I found the sequins in this to actually be very, very close to the ink colors that I used, and they're still that very subtle pastel color. And I'm just going to go ahead and add these to the front of my card. Now it's time to add these card panels to the front of my card bases. I'm using a Tombow Mono Liquid Adhesive, and I am going to go ahead and add these to some card bases. They measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when they're folded, and they are the same Neenah Solar White cardstock, but this time in 110-pound base weight. You can see that you can have them top folding, which means that they have the fold at the very top of the card, or you could have them side folding. I just had a couple in my stash here, so I just folded up the cards to be a little bit random. So I have some top folding and 2 side folding, and you're just going to glue these down very simply onto there. So now you can go ahead and see just how gorgeous these cards are. The little set here is absolutely beautiful. I love the way that they coordinate, but yet they're all a little bit different. So I hope you enjoyed today's card tutorial. I also just wanted to point out this really adorable Handmade by Me stamp that is from Right at Home. And they have beautiful sentiments like handmade by, I made this card, I make cards like it's my job, handmade by me, a card made just for you, and then some really cool ones like follow me on Instagram. They have some beautiful icons as well, so you can kind of create your own logo, which I thought was really neat, and I wanted to point out since Nicole was so nice enough to send that to me. So here's a final look at today's cards. If you're interested in checking out another video or subscribing to my YouTube channel, you can go ahead and do that now here, and I hope you'll check out my blog for more details about these cards as well as the supply list. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a wonderful day.